that was good. My name is Ed Howie, and this is How We Grow a Brand. 1, 2, 3, If you like what you learned from this video, help us promote this channel by clicking the like button below or subscribing to our channel. Ready to go? Let's get into today's chat. Woo! Here we go. With everything going on in today's economy, there are a lot of changes being forced upon small businesses. With everyone trying to grab consumers' attention in a media-saturated world, how do you set yourself apart? The reality is there is so much information coming at us, critical information for health, for wellness, for care for others, for concern, for love, for societal changes must happen. We're being inundated with information. Now more than ever, what is the relevance of your brand and how do you connect in a way that is meaningful, that is genuine, and that is necessary? So Molly McAdams, Dr. Molly McAdams, is the former vice president of own brand with H-E-B. H-E-B is a privately held supermarket chain headquartered in San Antonio and regarded as one of the world's leading retailers. With more than 340 stores throughout Texas and Northeast Mexico, H-E-B sets the standard for retailing at its best. When Molly was at H-E-B, she led H-E-B own brand private label initiatives, which represented nearly 30% of over $15 billion in sales. So Molly is not only an expert in the meat industry, she's an expert in retailing. But on the meat industry side, she really understands almost every angle of the business, from animal raising, manufacturing, production plant operations, consumer insights, retail marketing, food service. So let's see what Molly has to say about how you can best develop the right product for the right customers at the right time. So Molly, let's talk about hamburgers that you microwave, shall we?
Let's do it.
So I remember you've got a little bit of experience in microwavable hamburgers, huh?
I've got a little bit of experience with a microwavable hamburger. Yes, I do. Great experience.
So let's talk about fully cooked hamburgers. Wow, this was like late 90s at H-E-B, right?
Late 90s. Yeah, mid-June of 1999. I mean, I'll never forget it. It was a rocket ship to the moon.
And that was really not a time. That's when... oh my gosh, home meal replacement was one of the phrases, right?
Right.
And this whole idea of how could you bring restaurant quality food to the home, and what caused you and your team to believe that the world needed a hamburger that came out of a microwave?
Well, it actually very interesting because, you know, my scientific mind was kind of around the idea of there is no way that a hamburger that you microwave, that you cook and then you freeze and then you microwave to heat up, there's no way it's going to taste good. And then there was a company that wanted to present this concept to us, and we tried the product and it made a believer out of me. And I was so skeptical. I was like, oh no, forget it. Don't waste my time. What a ridiculous idea. But we tried it and it was the most amazing product ever. It was so good that when we launched it, we put a double your money back guarantee on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
On a microwavable hamburger.
Microwavable hamburger.
No, I know that's not how it was pitched. It was not sold that way. It was sold as a fully cooked hamburger.
Yep.
Well, so let's start with the end story, and that is, how did you launch this product to the consumer? What was the storyline?
So the storyline was, you know, kind of all along the lines of what we had already established in Fully Cooked at the time, which was this amazing quality. It was all backed by the H-E-B brand, which is powerful, right? Totally. So you have this tremendous power behind you and the trust in the brand. And we had already launched several really amazing items. And so it was kind of this, I think there was this inherent belief that it had to be good if we put our name on it. But there was a real structural way around launching the product that was fascinating. And it was all built on insight. So when we qualified the product for market, the insight was asking consumers just kind of out of the box. If you had a pre-cooked hamburger that was frozen and then you microwaved it, would you buy it? And overwhelmingly, like in the low 30s, we had people that said that they would. I mean, no one said they were going to buy it, you know?
Right.
And so that insight was critical because it's like, all right, good to know. Concept alone, nobody's going to buy it. But then what we did is we had these massive taste tests, and it was a part of market qualification anyway. So when people tried it, they tried the product first, and the question was, would you purchase this product? And it was a 98% purchase intent when they tried the product.
Yes.
So what we knew is it had to be all about getting people to try it.
Wow.
Yeah. So the launch it coincided with making sure that all of the people who worked in stores were a believer in the product. And so we went through this enormous process of sending bulk product to all the stores so that they could cook the product or heat the product. It just had to be reheated.
Right.
They reheated it for all the store partners. And that's ultimately what sold it to the consumers because, we were working for a company that had tremendous foot traffic. So consumers were in the stores. What you had to have is believers in the stores that would sell the consumers through the power of influence. And that's exactly how we launched the product. And we hit over $1 million in sales in 3 weeks.
$1 million in sales in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So
I told you it was a rocket ship to the moon.
More than 30% of the customers who could buy it bought it, eh?
Absolutely.
Now, what's funny is with our shared experience at H-E-B, right?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes we have the word velocity tattooed on our rear end, right?
Yeah.
Because that was really the name of the game, still is.
Yeah.
That if I remember a friend of mine from Chick-fil-A called me about 3 weeks after I'd started H-E-B and asked me the question, so how's it going? And my answer was, I have no idea yet. However, I am convinced that when I have a win here and when my team has a win, it's going to be a huge win.
Exactly.
But when we have a miss, it's going to be a huge miss. And I got to aim for the wins.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a win,
fail
huh?
Early and, fail early, fail fast. But this one,
and get rid of the product.
Yeah, and a quick story about that. So the manufacturer that was making the product for us, basically what I convinced them to do is give us the bulk product because I was going to give it to the stores. Wow. And I said, listen, I need you to invest. I don't remember what it was. It must have been like 20,000 pounds, something like that. I want you to give me this product because I'm going to give it to the stores and I'm going to let all the people that work in the stores try this product. And they hemmed and hawed. And I'm like, no, you got to trust me on this, right? Which I personally don't believe in trust me in business, but I said, you got to trust me on this. It's part of the launch. So they came down to see me after the product launched and they were driving down I-35 and they stopped at one of the stores that was just north of San Antonio. So they walk into the store and there's a guy that is mopping up a spill in the meat department. And he's in front of this enormous coffin case, this end cap that is full of this new burger that we launched, chock full. Here's this guy cleaning the floor. And these guys in, suits, essentially, probably khaki pants and a golf shirt, whatever they were wearing, they didn't belong. They didn't look like shoppers. And they walk over, they look at the display, and the guy walks up to him. He goes, I'm going to tell you something. I know they don't seem like they'd be good. You got to try these things. They're amazing. So
they were sold then.
They were sold. They walk into my office and they're like, okay, you totally planted that. And I said, what are you talking about? And then they said, well, we stopped at the store. They recount the story. I said, I don't know what store you stopped at. Did you fly in? Did you go to SA12? Because that's the store everybody would stop at. And they're like, no, we drove down. I said, see, I didn't know any of that. So no, that's what your 20,000 pounds of free product did, is it created $1 million in sales.
So this is late 90s. And, my recollection of a frozen meat patty at that point would be like was it Swanson's Salisbury steak,
Or Encore. Yeah.
Or
Swanson.
Encore. Right.
Right.
So this is not a situation where H-E-B and H-E-B's private label dominance, own brand dominance took an item that was already performing well and said, hey, we can do it differently, better, more affordably. This was truly creating a brand new subcategory in the meat department, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And that was part of the recruitment. The guy who recruited me to HEB kept telling me about doing, cooked meats. I got recruited to come in with no business experience.
Right.
I'm a scientist. I was doing research for the beef industry, and he wanted me to manage a category, which I had no idea. You're going to be a buyer, but it's so much more, right? He really put a sales job on me. Cooked meats at retail. I said, all that stuff that you buy at retail right now is just, the quality is terrible. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And that's what sold him. That's how he sold me, is he said, you can change all of that. You make what you want. And that was it was a very heady experience because of my meat science background and training. I had high expectations of how meat should perform. No matter if it's pre-cooked and you therm it back up, it should still perform at an amazing level. And I got to create those products and just tremendous success in that category. I loved every minute of it.
So, I know we have a commonality in our lens and just celebration appreciation of the food service industry. But this was wasn't some of your confidence in this based on what food service was doing with products like this already?
Absolutely. And interestingly, I had, food service training real early in my career. And I knew that the food manufacturing sector that positioned themselves towards food service, the products were more innovative, the flavor exploration was broader. I thought that they had higher quality offerings because basically they had to execute at a restaurant level. And in some cases you'd have chefs that you had to impress, so things like a pre-cooked prime rib, that was not uncommon in food service. And then they would just kind of, therm it up, temp it up.
Right.
But retail manufacturers were kind of going in the different, like a lower cost sort of a positioning. So yeah, we brought in a ton of food service manufacturers and put products in a retail package.
Well, and not even just a lower cost angle, but, most national brands have the retail division and the food service division.
That's right.
And they don't talk. Still today, there's probably a little more better of that today than in the past. But I remember we were trying to figure out a way to sell fountain Coca-Cola at HEB.
Yeah.
And HEB had tremendous leverage with Coca-Cola on the retail side.
Right.
But on the food service side, non-existent.
Right.
And so I kept going, exactly. I'm like, they're like, why don't we put fountain machines in HEB? I was like, because we have all this volume. So well, it's not our volume. I'm like, but it's Coca-Cola volume. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it is. So,
with our shared food service background, what's interesting is that while sampling is more prevalent today in retail than before, one of my favorite brands, Chick-fil-A, that's really how the brand was built.
Oh, yeah.
Starting off as a 15-year-old in North Carolina, standing in front of the store, handing out samples, try a sample of Chick-fil-A. And Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, he believed that if you tasted it once, you would love it for good. They actually trademarked the phrase, taste it, you'll love it for good, I believe the mid-'80s.
Yeah. That's fabulous.
I mean, you think about it in restaurants, you want to sell your desserts, you give a little sample of the dessert or that kind of thing. But in retail, that really was foreign.
Yeah.
But
it's expensive.
It just works. It is expensive. It's hard to manage.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that with Fully Cooked Burgers, your focus was on the partners, the team first, not as much the consumers, right?
Yeah, it was. It was primarily on the partners because what I knew is that the business model at HEB was such that the people were going to be in the stores, right? Consumers are in the stores. It's the same way it is now. I mean, people, if you live in that market area, you shop at HEB, and there was a tremendous amount of interaction with the people who work in the stores. A lot of trust, a kind of an awareness and a knowledge of who they were. And I believed that if I had everyone from like the Night Stalkers to the front end managers who knew how great that particular product was, I felt confident that they would then advocate passionately for the product. And that's exactly what they did.
Well, and they did to your manufacturing partner as well, right there in the store.
Oh yeah.
Wow. So we've been talking a good bit, we've been talking a good bit about empathetic marketing, so aside from product formulation, which I know you're all about the science and manufacturability of products and how to fully utilize proteins, but then also the consumer side of it. What is it about fully cooked burgers that you think resonated personally with the consumers? Why do they keep buying it?
I think it had a lot to do with understanding how to use your freezer as a pantry. Having a really high quality protein that delivered time and time and time again, tremendous consistency with the product. You could always trust it. And it was so simple that your preteen kid could fix their own snack. It's powerful, right?
Yeah.
So it was all about, it's always there. Like I look at my freezer as a pantry, and I think about, what do you always have to have your freezer in case somebody drops by? We live out in the country. So if somebody drops by, we probably aren't going to a restaurant for dinner. We're going to have to figure out what we're going to eat there. And it was all about having that access of this amazing product that you could just trust to deliver over and over, but just so simple. You're not going to turn your kid loose with a skillet or the grill.
Right.
Like, you'll turn them loose with a microwave, and they've got a hamburger after school. They're ready to go. So
fully cooked within several years, about how many SKUs, how many items?
Oh gosh, we ended up with, you're really testing my memory here. It was over 100 SKUs, over 100 items. And I don't remember how many we got up to, probably 150, 175, something like that. I don't know. It was a lot.
So not only building a great product, but building a great category of products that the brand halo, the brand value of each one has to deliver, but each one supports it.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds
Absolutely.
like taste it, you love it to good. It sounds like, taste it, you love it for good. It really is the truth, right? Yeah.
It was. It was very, very, very similar to that. And then, but also, you can't underestimate the power of the parent brand behind it and the trust that consumers have then and now in H-E-B as a company. It's just a powerful, powerful company.
I don't know. I want to go get a burger now.
Yeah, I know, me too.
Thanks, Molly.
Yep.
So that's it for today. If any of this works in your business this week, I'd love to hear about it in the comments or just message me. I'm Ed Howie, and you've been listening to Howie Grow a Brand. Hope we've inspired some joy in you, and you'll inspire some joy in others. See you soon.